says, Ki yarei lo geshes elho Elokim. He was afraid to see the name of Elokim. In Parshas Ba'aleischa it says, Usmunas Hashem Yabit. What's the difference? Elokim refers to midas hadin, severity, punishment, limitation, concealment. Moshe Rabbeinu had such a love for the Jewish people that when Hashem acted in a way of Elokim, when Hashem acted in a way of severity, of punishment, of death, of torture, Moshe Rabbeinu says, that I cannot look at. When Hashem acts like this, I can't look at it. When Hashem is doing Usmunas Hashem, when Hashem is doing the Midas HaRachamim, when Hashem is acting in a way of kindness to the Jewish people and mercy, so that Usmunas Hashem Yabit, that level Moshe Rabbeinu could look at. Before we were spoken about Mesiras Nefesh, the greatness of Mesiras Nefesh. But about 18 years ago, when a woman was killed in Crown Heights by Goyim, and the Rebbe spoke a sikh at the end of the Shiva, and the Rebbe spoke the greatness of Mesiras Nefesh, and he mentioned the story with the Beis Yosef, that he was punished, that he couldn't die Mesiras Nefesh. And the Rebbe said, Mesiras Nefesh ahead, Mesiras Nefesh ahead. But that doesn't come to a mother who cannot raise her child. That doesn't come, Mesiras Nefesh doesn't come to the pain of a mother not being able to raise a 2-year-old child. And it's even more because they said she was pregnant. This is the difficulty. And yes, there are questions. And as we know the famous expression, for a non-believer there are no answers, and for a believer there are no questions. But the Rebbe says you need to ask. And even though we know there are no answers to the question, we need to ask. Well, what do we need to do from it? So we know that when Tafshin Tazayin in 1956, when the massacres took place in Kfar Chabad of the 5 people that were killed, the 4 students and the teacher, and the Rebbe sent a 3-worded telegram that basically said, to build, that is the nechama, that is the comfort. Looking for answers will not find a nechama. Looking for answers when there are no answers that we can understand. Shtoik, kach b'machshava, Hashem says, be quiet, only I can understand this. And Aaron had this chus of Vayidim, Aaron, and Aaron was silent. What we have to answer is with building. And building does not only mean building buildings. Building means within ourselves. We are an Olam Mole, we are a complete world. When we better ourselves, we are building the concept of binyan. Binyan and tikkun Olam is when we better ourselves. And everybody was touched. The world was glued to the internet and to the televisions and the radios to know what was going on. And everybody was in awe and shock of what's going on, and it touched every single human being that thought. Nevertheless, we need to build. And the building is by changing. Because when we change by doing things which are convenient, that's not called changing. Like there's an expression, you want to give tzedakah properly? It's not if you have extra money after you bought everything that you have and you have nothing to do with the leftover money, you give tzedakah. That's not called giving tzedakah. Yeah, it's a mitzvah, the person is helped. But giving tzedakah is when it hurts. Giving tzedakah or doing any mitzvah means when it demands a change of our nature. And there's two things I want to speak about, one for the men and one for the women. And trust me, this is not Musar, but it's things that ain't them berume shalayla, things that are the ultimate important things in Yiddishkeit. And we all of us, need to improve in it. And you can go through all 613 mitzvahs, you can go through all the mitzvahim, and there's no question that we need to improve in all of it. But I want to speak one thing for the men and one thing for the women. It was mentioned before, the concept of davening. Chabad Chassidus. In the Alter Rebbe's times, the Mitzvah Rebbe's times, as we know, the Alter Rebbe himself went to the Mizritch Maggid because he heard that in Vilna they learn how to learn, and in Mizritch they learn how to daven. And the Alter Rebbe said, let me go learn how to daven. The uniqueness of Chabad Chassidus from the time of the Alter Rebbe on was the concept of davening. Chassidim used to daven for hours. They didn't start at 2 and finish at 2:30. They started, they learned, they prepared themselves for davening. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about basic tefillah b'tzibur. Coming to shul on time, and if you think about it, what is this whole purpose of davening? We're doing Hashem a favor. When we daven to Hashem, we're doing God a favor. He needs our tefillahs. We're davening for ourselves. That Hashem should grant and give us those things that we want and what we need. So don't you think in common decency that the concept of tefillah needs to be emphasized and stressed and bettered? We all know that the worst place to find a minyan, that you'll have 6 people davening with the minyan, is in a Chabad shul. You go to any other shul, there's 10 people, 20 people, they're all davening Shmoneh Esrei with the minyan. So a halavai it would be because Chassidim are davening long. But like that's not what the story is. We come to shul, first you have to talk Lashon Hara for half an hour. And then you have to start with the talis walking around. They used to say that it takes shorter to daven from Baruch Shamar until Shmoneh Esrei than until Baruch Shamar. Why? Because then you're not allowed to talk. You have no choice, so the davening goes quick. Why shouldn't people daven tefillah b'tzibur? Start with the minyan, daven Shmoneh Esrei with the minyan. Besides the fact it's halach and shulchan aruch. But this is what this is all about, avodas hatefillah. We're not talking about davening b'arichas the way it really should be. We're talking, number one, b'chlal coming to shul to daven with the minyan. And to make sure we come to shul on time. To make sure that we start, as Alter Rebbe writes in time, it says, Alter Rebbe told us orally, that when you start with the minyan, haydu, even if you end up not davening Shmoneh Esrei with the minyan, it's called tefillah b'tzibur. It says since the beginning of Sefer Minhag. To come to shul on time, to put on talis and tefillin, to daven with the minyan, not to talk during davening, until, as the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, until the end of the last Kaddish at the end of davening.